Hello and welcome to Christianity Daily with Rose Bijou. We are here. It's another session. As we keep repeating whenever we are on, that Christianity Daily is a program, a Christian program that's tailored to discussing issues that we face as Christians on a daily basis. We talk about how we can use what we can use to our advantage to help us tackle things that we face on a daily basis. And I'll be covering different topics, be it worship, be it how to eat, how to talk, how to dress. So far we've done various topics, but today I'm on this wonderful platform with my two beautiful sisters. We are as church interpreters today. We will be talking about interpreters. So if you are an interpreter in the church, in the community, professionally or religiously, doesn't matter how you interpret, but if you are an interpreter, listen carefully to this. It will be very, very useful to you. You're watching Christianity Daily. Stay tuned. Don't go away. So, we're back with Christianity Daily. I just want to thank God for this opportunity because He is the one that has made it possible for me to be here on this platform with our sisters here. Without God, we can do nothing. In fact, we are here as interpreters because we do His work. So firstly, I just want to say thank you to God. Thank you, God, for this moment. And I want to thank my biological parents for encouraging me to start these sessions on coaching interpreters because it's something I've got. And I want to thank my spiritual parents, which is Papa Nkosi and Mama Kese as well, for really being there for me, helping me to become a good interpreter. And today I'm here coaching other people. If you are a pastor, you've got your interpreters and you want people to coach them, do not hesitate to contact me on my Facebook page, Christianity Daily with Rose Bijou, or on Instagram as Rose Bijou Ramirez. On Twitter, I'm also there as Rose Bijou Ramirez. And we've got videos on YouTube as well as Rose Bijou Ramirez. Please do not hesitate to contact me. I'm available. We will discuss as to how I can be of use to you and your church. Also, if you're an interpreter, you need a one-to-one, please do not hesitate to contact me and you will surely be blessed. So, we are here. I am Rose Bijou and I will let my guests introduce themselves and then we will introduce our topic. So, sister, could you kindly introduce yourself to the camera? Let the people know who you are.
Hi, I'm Sylvie. I'm Sister Sylvie Judy and I'm a church interpreter.
And my sister?
Hi, I'm Sister Gloria Ganda and I'm also a church interpreter.
Good. And I'm your dearly beloved, humble Sister Rose Bijou. So welcome to Christianity Daily. Today we're going to talk to interpreters. Our topic for today is the common mistakes that interpreters make. Common mistakes. So we are addressing these common mistakes in the hope that we will correct them so that you will know the best way of doing things, so that you will not be making these mistakes anymore. Interpreting is communicating what the main speaker or the preacher is saying, but you interpreting it in a different language. It is important that the message is not modified during the interpreting or the translation process, okay? It's very paramount that the message is not modified, all right? So, you need to be able to translate or interpret the message clearly and enunciate properly and clearly in order to convey the message as the preacher is preaching them. I always give advice on Exodus 4, verse 10 to 16, where the Bible is talking about Aaron. Aaron is a very good example for interpreters. If you are an interpreter and you've not studied Aaron. You better start studying Aaron now. Go and read the book of Exodus chapter 4, where God called Aaron to become an interpreter in order to impersonate Moses, in order to be the mouthpiece of Moses. So Moses was the mouthpiece of God, speaking from God, and then Aaron was the mouthpiece of Moses, translating what Moses was saying to the people, because Moses had a speech impediment. So had Aaron not translated those information clearly, the people of God wouldn't have received the message of God as God stated them to Moses. So it's important that you do it clearly. Now, most interpreters, congratulations to all interpreters out there. It's a hard work. It's a hard job. Okay, listening to somebody and translating the message is not easy. So congratulations to you. If you are an interpreter, you're doing a good job. But in their bid to translate correctly, to use the correct vocal expression, tone of the voice, interpreters tend to shout. Some interpreters tend to shout. Speaking clearly does not mean shouting. Speaking in a correct tone of voice does not mean shouting. It means speaking with the same level of rhythm, of voice as that of the preacher. So if the preacher screams, hopefully they won't be screaming, but if they do, you up your volume so you can match theirs. All right. Do not overdo it so as you scream over the preacher's voice and you deafen the ears of the people in the church. I know people who do that. Please don't do that. Okay. So, can you, before I move on, Sister Chancellevie, can you tell me what are the common mistakes that you as an interpreter have encountered in your journey as an interpreter?
The common mistake sometimes can
Just
be...
speak a bit louder so that the people can hear.
Yes, the common mistake sometimes are just translating exactly as they said. We always have to remember as interpreters, you can't translate word by word.
No.
You need to be able to say something in the way you know it will sound appropriate to people.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he said something in language and it makes sense, and you're trying to translate it in that language and it doesn't make sense, first because you're translating it in your head, they're trying to find a word that's more appropriate. So you don't actually ruin the message.
Yes.
Because once you say something that it could be correct, but it ruins the entire message because the people hearing it they'll become doubtful.
They can't relate to it.
Yeah, they wonder, oh, why would they say something like that? Why you're pretty sure that is actually the correct word, but it ruins the entire message for the rest of the people that don't actually speak the main language that is being preached on.
So is it, you've said a correct word, but it's not the appropriate word.
Yes.
So it's the right word, but it's not
the
appropriate for that message.
Yes. To use.
Okay. Anything to add on that when we're talking about common mistakes?
I totally agree with Sister Chancellevie on that matter.
Sister Gloria, go on.
Because when you're hearing, when we're so focused on hearing, we sort of try to translate exactly what the preacher's saying. And we need to remember that, like, for me, I had to remind myself that real people are listening, real everyday people are listening. So there are certain words that might sound good written down. You know, if you're writing an essay or if you're writing a dissertation, academically it might sound good, but for an everyday person who just wants to hear the message, it might not be appropriate. Yeah, so I totally agree with Sister Chancellevie.
While we're on this, as a common mistake highlighted by Sister Chancellevie, I just want to remind us, biblical jargon is what we're supposed to use when we are interpreting in the church. Depending on where you are as an interpreter, what your role is as an interpreter, if you're interpreting for a political thing, you need to make yourself familiar with political jargon. If you're interpreting for somebody at the Home Office for the sake of their asylum case, for example, you need to be familiar with asylum terms. But when you are interpreting in the church, you're supposed to use the common language that is used in the Bible. But bearing in mind, as Sister Gloria said, that real people are listening. So you can't be these and thous, okay? You can't be going thee and thou. No. Use common language that the common layman uses. Use the Bible terminology, but bring it down to the level of common people. So don't make the mistakes of overdoing the Bible too much when you're interpreting. Thank you very much. Okay, it is imperative that you don't scream. Back on the screaming. The way our vocal cords are made is that we speak in rhythm. So we speak in high and low. High, low. So if you constantly go, ee, you've got a pitchy voice, you like that, screaming, 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 you're going to damage your vocal cords. Trust me, been there, done that. We need to speak rhythmically. Sometimes you speak slow, sometimes you speak high. So you give your vocal cords time and turn to rest and repair itself to give you the best strength vocally. Okay, you cannot persistently scream. Okay, use the same pitch as that of the preacher, otherwise you will burn out. All right, so another common mistake that interpreters make that I have found from my experience is that they make up words. Please, please, please do not make up words. You are there impersonating the preacher. You are translating the message that the preacher is preaching. Don't make your own message up. When you make up a word, you change the entire message. As Sister Chancellery has just said, if in doubt of the word, say, pardon me, say, excuse me, stop, so that the preacher can reiterate what they said. They will soon find out that you did not get the word. They may use a different word that you will be able to translate. So please do not make up your own words. Otherwise, you are making a completely different message to that of the preacher, which therefore defeats your purpose for being there. Okay? Ask. If you did not hear anything, you should ask. Okay? These people that are there, they are not ignorant of the language you are speaking. All right? If you're lying, they will know you're lying. Definitely. There is somebody in the audience that understands your language, that language that you're translating. So if the preacher is preaching in English and you're translating in Chinese, because you're translating for the Chinese people may not understand you, that you're lying to them, okay? Because they believe in everything you're saying. But amongst the Chinese people, there's somebody who understands the English. They will know that there's a mistake being made somewhere there. So somebody will always know that you are lying. So avoid lies and omissions during the translation process. Anything else you'd like to add that you found to be a mistake that people make? What about when you get stuck on the word? Have you ever gotten stuck on a word?
Yes.
When you get stuck on a word, what do you do?
The most common mistake I make is panic first and then make up a word second.
Thank you for being honest.
I'm going to be honest.
Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being honest.
Panic and then make up the word. And if there's...
Do you make up the word because you want to or because you think that word could be used there?
Because of the panic, I sort of think that word could be used there. So in my mind, the words just jumble up. And then I'm just like, maybe this could be the one.
Yeah,
so I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
And afterwards, but if there's no panic there, I look for help. I seek help.
Where do you seek for help? I want to touch on that, and you can also touch on it. Where in your local church, do you have people that help you, or where do you get help from?
For example, in our church, the interpreters sit together. They're in one place. So when you get stuck, don't just look around for anyone to shout at you the word. Just look at your fellow interpreters, and one of them will tell you the right word. And once you focus on them and you tell the right word, then you can go along with the message.
Are they quite sharp though to give the words? Because you remember you don't want to lose time.
Yeah, they're quite quick.
Okay.
Normally they're quite quick.
We discussed something with you that people will shout words at you.
Yes.
What are the mistakes that interpreters make when people are shouting words at them?
And we have to remember, while you're up there, you're trying to translate, you're trying to interpret. So there's time you get panic if you don't know the word and you're wondering, okay, and someone just says something to you, you want to fill in the gap. You don't want to be any gap in between your words. But that is a common mistake we all make. Sometimes I make that. I used to make that actually. Now what I do is I'll look at the fellow interpreters and they will help me. They will shout out the word and immediately I'll fill in the gap. So it's really important to keep calm, not to look like you're upset or you're confused or you're not sure, like you just want to leave when you are.
Do you feel like you want to leave the stage?
Sometimes you feel really like, no, I shouldn't be here because right now I'm just confused confused. I don't know what's going on. So it's important to actually keep calm.
Okay.
To know that word will pass and there's still more words coming at you that you still need to interpret.
Okay. Now, just touching on that, do every word that the audience throws at you are the right words?
No.
Okay.
Sometimes completely does not
So
make sense.
don't make the mistakes. Don't make the mistakes of using the word that the people are shouting at you. I'll give an example. In our church, we preach in French and in English, right? So I remember once our pastor said, "Nous allons lire dans le livre de Jacques." Okay, we will read, and I heard somebody shout, and I said James, and I heard somebody shout Jakes. I'm like, and I ignored it. We will read in the book of James, chapter 2, and the person said, Jakes. I had to really suffer a bit, just in order not to get upset, because I know I'm the interpreter.
Yes.
The reason I'm here is because I know something you don't. I have a skill that you don't have. So I know that James is Jacques in French, not Jakes. But clearly that person in the audience was so convinced that it is Jakes, and they kept shouting to them I was making a mistake. But because I knew the right word, I completely ignored them. And I emphasized that it was James, And sometimes you will read a verse in the Bible, in the French version, it's in a different verse. And maybe it's in verse 1 in the French Bible, but maybe in the English one it's in verse 2. So when you're reading, people are looking at you like you're crazy. And I'll say, no, in my English version, it is in verse 2. That way, you get your audience in tune to know that you're not making a mistake. Before we conclude, I just want to give another advice. So, another mistake that interpreters make is they speak in the third language, the third person. You should speak in the first person. For example, I will say, when I was a child, I used to read the Bible a lot. When you're interpreting, you can't say, she just said when she was a child, she used to read the Bible a lot. No, you need to say, when I was a child, I used to read the Bible a lot. You interpret in the first person because you are impersonating that person. So if Sister Gloria was interpreting me, she becomes Rose at that moment. So she can't say Rose said. She has to say I said, because Rose does not exist. It's Gloria in front of Rose. Rose is hiding behind Gloria when Gloria is interpreting Rose. Okay? Speak in the first person. Remain in close proximity with the speaker because you want to be able to understand them. When you are close, but please mind personal space, right? Personal space is an arm's length, right? That's your personal space. So don't be so close that, the person feels intimidated by you, okay? Remember the personal space, but be in close proximity so that you'll be able to talk to understand them clearly. It is preferable that when you're going to interpret, especially in a place where you're not known, you don't really know the preacher well, it's preferable that you discuss with them your level of competence, your level of skill base and knowledge, and your preferred language. I remember, Sister Gloria, I went to preach somewhere. I was invited as an interpreter to interpret the message, and I was to understand, I thought I was going to translate in English. The preacher was going to preach in French, but when I got there, roles got changed. The preacher was actually going to preach in English, and I had to translate in French or Lingala, but they did not warn me. Luckily, I am okay with both languages. Otherwise, I was going to be thrown off really, not knowing what to do. So it's very important that you make clear what language you are comfortable to translate into. We all have our strength and weaknesses. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add as to common mistakes before we close off this session? Please feel free. Think of yourself on the altar. Think of yourself in the church. What common mistakes do you see that you want us to advise the interpreters today not to do?
I would say you have to dress comfortably. you have to make sure you're well dressed,
Mm-hmm.
you're wearing the comfortable shoes,
Mm-hmm.
because the last thing you want to do is to get up there and to stand for about an hour and to feel like your feet are hurting, because the moment you start feeling pain, you become uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and that shows on
That
your
distracts
face.
you as
Yes,
well, doesn't
and
it?
then now
It
all you're
distracts you.
thinking
It
is, I
does.
want to get
These
off, I
shoes
really
off.
want
Yeah.
to see it. Yeah, so make sure you're dressed comfortably, that you are happy, you're actually conveying happy, like you look happy,
You look
that you don't
comfortable.
look like you want to be off, like I just want to get this done with. So those are just common mistakes I feel I used to make a lot.
Anything else before we close off?
I just wanted to say, for me, the advice I would give is, the church, it is not a wrestling ground. It's not you against the church.
Exactly.
So when you go up there, even if they're like with Sister Rose, how she experienced people shouting, like Sister Rose did, just stay calm, just stay cool. Remember, you're there to do your job. So
Yes.
if they're throwing words at you, if they're looking at you wrongly, if whatever they do, it's not you against them. Just concentrate on the message and just get on. And if you make a mistake, it's okay.
It's okay.
Just move on
Yes.
and progress. Don't
Yes.
just be sad because you made that one
Yes.
mistake. Just move on.
Yes. So like we are it's from the same church. Thank you, Sister Chanceline and Sister Gloria, for your input. So Sister Gloria is our product. We're training her, we're coaching, and she's doing very well. And so Sister Chanceline, she used to interpret in another church, but she came to Zion Church, and I'm there. I'm helping interpreters, and I do hope my advice has also helped you to boost up
Yes,
your confidence.
definitely.
So it's not a wrestling ground. You can make mistakes, but it's okay to make a mistake. The important thing is when you make it, listen to advice and correct it. So next time you don't do the same thing. So in our group, we throw words at each other to help the person who's on the altar, but also we have a group chat where whoever is alert during the service writes the words in the group chat, so that when the service is over, we all go back, we look at the message, go, I did not realize this was how you say it. So we chat to each other, we encourage each other. The next time that word is thrown at us, we know exactly how to say it and what to say. I hope you've been blessed. We will do this again. Sit down with other interpreters on a platform and talk about this. Please watch this video on YouTube as Rose Bijou Ramirez. I'm on YouTube, and there's other videos that you can watch as well. Follow me on my page, Christianity Daily with Rose Bijou. Like and share the page, please. There's other messages that you can get from us. So I hope we've been useful to you as an interpreter, as a pastor. Share this video, help other people learn something new about interpreting. Until next time, be encouraged, be uplifted, and be blessed. Let's all say goodbye. Bye.